Hi guys, Marley Cutbush here from Flagship International. It's a stunning summer's morning. We're over at Taronga Zoo and we've just spent the morning photo shooting this incredible piece of Australian maritime history, Septima. She's a 1961 Halvorsen 44. She's been lovingly restored to the nth degree and I'm really excited to show you on board. What a special boat. So here we are in the cockpit. Got a really nice sort of lounging setup. Perfect for just relaxing. Like on a morning like today, there's no one around. Go for a swim, read the paper, have a cuppa and just relax here. Absolutely beautiful. All this has been redone. We've got a nice fridge in here. Granite serving bench top. Just a really, really nice flow from the saloon back to this lounge cockpit. This nice easy sliding door, moving forward to the saloon. So moving into the saloon, the first thing you sort of notice is not just the style, but the massive amount of glass and natural light flooding this whole saloon. A lot of these windows will open up for nice fresh air, which you sort of don't get in modern boats. Upper galley, something that a lot of people are driving for at the moment is to be up and part of the action whilst you're prepping a meal. Here we've got hot and cold water as well as sparkling water out of that tap there. Nice sink, and then just a massive amount of prep and bench space. Moving forward, we've got a Bosch oven, convection oven. Here's another isotherm fridge freezer. Next one down again, set of drawers. Next one down again is a dishwasher. So nice big fridge, convection oven, dishwasher. Forward we've got a induction cooktop. And bearing in mind we're on a 1961 Halvorsen, so pretty impressive restoration. Then over here on the port side, a nice sort of indoor dining or card table might have been in its day. The storage under all of these is also the aircon, so there's air conditioning in the saloon and in the forward stateroom. Some USB chargers and 240. The generator was brand new, Northern Lights generator, so that'll provide 240 to the boat, as well as you could run 240 stuff off your lithium battery bank through a big inverter should you not want to have the generator running. The carpet through here is New Zealand wool. We've got some really nice sort of LED highlights. It's just incredible boat. So a little bit of history about Septima. So she was designed by Harry Halvorsen. I think the original drawings are still in the National Maritime Museum here in Sydney. She was, at the time of the build, it was 69,000 pounds, which you could have bought about 5 houses in Sydney for. So she's certainly a high-end gentleman's cruiser. She was built for a wealthy family and taken down to the Victorian Lakes. She hosted King Charles on board, lots of premiers, I believe. Bob Hawke or something has also been on board. So, you know, in the time that she was built, she was certainly a piece of art, and not much has changed. So she had a long life, and the current owner actually spent the last 3-4 years restoring her. There was about 7,000 man hours of shipwright work put into the boat, and so she's now better than she once was, but she's also got this hidden modern touch to it. So while she hasn't lost her lines, she hasn't lost her styling, she hasn't lost her class, when we start looking around you'll get a feel for the things that have been added, and it's a pretty special bit of work. So up on the bow we've got traditional teak decking throughout. Obviously that's been replaced. The bright work is in immaculate condition. There is covers that cover the entire boat. We've got a nice Samson post, a mule winch, we've got a chain counter up there. The wraparound glass in in the windscreen and up forward, like in its day, that was incredibly difficult to do. You can see this curvature of the windscreen. It's just so impressive. Everything's been re-chromed across the course of its life. So this whole bow area is actually a perfect platform for sunbaking out the front. You could set up some cushions here or even a little picnic on the bow, taking in the view like we've got this morning of the city skyline and the Opera House and bridge. Then moving aft, we've got grab rails the whole way around, classic old spotlight. So we're up here on the Flybridge, and you start to see the style of the boat hasn't been lost in its restoration. If anything, it's been accentuated. Even the little things. So there's the 14 coats of varnish all over this teak, but everything's just hidden. So there we've got our Garmin screen. That's got all its engine diagnostics, autopilots. We've got bow and stern thruster controls, subtly hidden behind this little hatch there. So she's powered by 8 LV Yanmars, so they're 8 cylinders, which incredibly will push her up to around 20 knots. Well, I think we just got 20.7 knots, which is pretty impressive for a classic Halvo like this. It sort of means 99% of the time you're going to be cruising around at 8 knots, doing the real estate cruise. But if you wanted to sprint up to Pittwater, it's not a few hour journey. You could get there in an hour if you wanted to, which is pretty impressive. The other thing is these are electronic controls, which make not just ease of manoeuvring, but also they're just running super quiet. So at idle speed, you can't even hear the engines up here. We've got our Yanmar engine controls with also the readouts of all your throttle load, running hours. So here we go, running hours on here at the moment is 295 on both the Yanmars. The generator's got about the same, 300, 400 odd hours. Electronic starts, that's your electric chain counter for your mule windlass. So I've got these beautiful classic teak helm chairs. A couple of nice sort of serving benches. Below either of these is a isotherm fridge, and then this awesome dining table. So the teak flooring up here is got this nice camber for water runoff, just such a classic. So this extended duckboard was an addition that the current owner put on. Certainly just makes the boat a lot more usable. It's probably 1 metre wide, which is pretty handy, and it's got a retractable swim ladder that drops out the back. This timberline transom with the naming and the classic ensign flag. It's just, everything's a work of art. So the lower helm is quite a special place to be operating the boat from. We've got this breezeway window off to port, in keeping in lines with the refit styling. Everything's still classic with all these modern features. So here we've got another 2 Garmin screens, all your engine diagnostics again, active captain, battery management. It's got a full lithium battery bank, generator, air conditioning. The whole boat has been designed to be user friendly. So even things like, we've got this classic leather trim that can be popped up for easy access to the back of those screens. Even for major engine work, there's big floor panels in the saloon flooring that you can pop up. But if you needed to do major work, the engines have just been out, full repower happened in the last few years. Again, I mentioned that 300 odd hours on the 8-cylinder Yanmars. So, but everything's been designed to be removed if you needed to. So you could easily get those engines back out without dismantling the whole boat, which is pretty clever. Down here, we've got our electrical panel. Again, the whole boat's been rewired. We've got the Enerdrive inverter charger, Fusion stereo system, all your breaker panels, main battery isolator switches. And over on the port side here, this is your engine controls down for your lower helm, as well as VHF radio, start stops. Again, just hidden perfectly, out of sight, out of mind, but it's there when you need it. And again, on the port side of the helm here, replica of what we had up the top. We've got a newer chain counter and your thruster controls. Helm control for that classic spotlight we had up the top. Just, this is a piece of art. Everything's been re-chromed, so everything's in immaculate condition, but still keeping with the time of the boat. So moving down below into the accommodation quarters. Amazing how much they've fit into, this is a 44-foot motorboat, walk around decks, but there's still an incredible amount of accommodation down here. So first door you come to on the starboard side is a nice big bathroom and head. Port side, we've got sort of master, LED lights throughout, some reading lamps. So moving all the way forward, we've got another accommodation. So we've got a sort of 3/4 double on the port side and then another single on the starboard side. Nice massive big flat screen TV. Heaps of natural light. There's just abundant of light for a boat of this vintage. It's phenomenal how much natural light they've got down here. LED lighting throughout, and then forward, a special little 4-peak head. So we're cruising along at the moment. We're doing about 8 knots for, I'll just go through. So this whole engine management system, we're doing 1700 RPM, that's getting us about 8 knots, but the boat's super quiet. If we wanted to knock it back a little bit, you're probably doing 1000 RPM, gets you maybe 6 knots. So it's certainly comfortable, really efficient. Like this engine, because the Yanmar system is plugged straight into this Garmin system, you can see everything from fuel flow, range, fuel usage, and therefore range left, RPM, all your gauges, oil pressures, gearbox pressures and all that. It all just ties straight into this system. So that's 2300 RPM. We're getting about 10 knots. The amazing thing is this sprint speed. So come up a little bit more, we just let those turbos really kick in. So that's 3000 RPM. We're still dragging our bum a little bit, but it's giving us about 13 knots. But then we go the next level up, and that's where she starts to just plane up a little bit. So now we're doing 3400 RPM. We're getting 17 knots. Again, the boat's just gliding through the water. We are sitting a little bit bow high. Then we'll go pedal to the metal. So that's 3900 RPM. We're doing just over 20 knots. She holds about 1000 litres of fuel, which means at 20 knots at 80 litres, you've actually got a decent range even at 20 knots. Just such an amazing position to be stood here, taking in the breeze. If you're offshore, just watching the dolphins or the whales, certainly an absolute piece of art. And it's just an honour to be on board and take her for a run around Sydney Harbour. Thanks for your time today. My name's Marley Cutbush. It's been an honour to show you on board. There's so much to get through and I could never show you everything in one video, but she's moored at Birkenhead Point Marina. I'm Marley Cutbush. Give us a call and we can organise an inspection.